All right, my friends, welcome to the Wealth Outside of Wall Street channel, where you learn how to take control over your money and achieve financial freedom in 10 years or less. Now, my friends, today, I'm gonna give you the ultimate guide to investing. Listen, my friends, in this episode, I'm gonna shed some light on the concept of investing, why we take our money that we could spend today and put it away for the future. So if you've ever had any questions about investing in this video, I'm gonna share with you the 5 steps to become the best investor. So if you're a beginner, you can get going on the right foot. You don't have to lose a bunch of money or time. And if you've been at the game of investing for a little while, but you don't feel like you're getting ahead fast enough, you're gonna understand after this video that you probably haven't been investing at all. You've been doing the exact opposite. So what is investing? Well, listen, my friends, at a basic level, it's taking a sum of money that you have today that you've traded your time for, and it's placing it into some form of an asset class for a future payout. As of 2024, the total market capitalization of the US stock market, it's approximately $50.8 trillion. Of this amount, nearly 70% of people's retirement assets are allocated to the stock market in one way or another. So most people, when they think of investing, they think about the stock market, right? There's trillions of dollars as evidence and proof that this is the first place that most people turn when they think about investing for the future. But on this same token today, there is a major retirement crisis. You're probably on this channel because you realize that retirement crisis in your own life. Here's just a couple of statistics to back that up. According to the National Institute of Retirement Security, Americans face an alarming retirement savings shortfall. Most Americans do not have enough money to retire. And if they do retire, they're gonna retire barely above broke, hoping that Social Security can bridge the gap. And according to Think Advisor, the US is heading from a retirement crisis to a full-on retirement catastrophe. So, my friends, there is a major disconnect with what people think investing is and the results that it's actually producing for most Americans. So what gives? How can there be so much money invested but such a massive retirement problem? Well, as I mentioned in this video, we're gonna break down the 5 steps to successfully investing that you can use to go from losing in the game of money and being one of those statistics that I just barely cited to now confidently and predictably and consistently winning in the game of money by becoming a successful investor. So what are the 5 steps? Step number 1 is stop speculating and become an investor instead. Listen, my friends, words literally matter. And now listen, I have a teenage daughter and she loves to use the word literally all of the time as a way to add emphasis to what she's talking about. Now, the word literally means something that is true in a literal or a factual sense. So when my teenage daughter says, "I literally died laughing," she literally didn't. She was just misusing the word to add emphasis to how hard she was laughing. So what does this concept have to do with you putting away money for the future? Well, quite literally, everything. Did you see what I did there? I used literally. Now listen, my friends, let's start with an example. Let's say that you have $100,000 to put away for the future. You excitedly go home and you tell your spouse proudly that you, the confident individual that you are, successfully speculated that $100,000 for retirement. If you use the word speculating, how do you think your spouse is going to react? When you use the word speculation, it changes the context of what you're trying to convey, doesn't it? So let me give you the definition of speculating to see if we're using the right words in the right context. Speculating means parting with capital, with the hope of capital appreciation. In essence, it's buying an expectation of a future resale value. Today, most people are actually speculating when they think they're investing. Literally, they're speculating, not investing. My friends, speculating is the reason that there's such a retirement shortfall. It's someone who has taken their capital, money that they've traded their time for, they've worked very hard for, and that money that they choose not to spend today, it's a representation of a future dream. It's something that they're putting away for the future, hoping to buy their time back and have the retirement that they want. But speculating is now taking that money and it's gambling it. It's putting it in something that you have no control over the outcome, and essentially it's putting you on a roller coaster ride. When the market's up, you're happy. When the market's down, you start to second guess and question whether or not you'll ever be able to retire. So what is the definition of investing? How do we go from speculating to investing? The definition of investing is actually quite opposite. It's parting with capital with the expectation of safety of principal first and foremost, and an adequate return in the form of interest, dividends, or rent. Did you notice those definitions? They're quite different. In one, you're hoping, and in the other, your primary focus is safety of principal. That's why real investors like Warren Buffett say there's really only two rules to investing. Rule number one, don't lose money. Rule number two, don't forget rule number one. Step number one in becoming a successful investor is stop speculating and be transformational instead. Start investing. Step number two, it builds on step number one, and it's raising your financial intelligence. Listen, in order for you to win in the game of money and investing, it requires you to be smarter. If you want to win at anything, you first must know and understand the rules of the game, and then develop a good strategy within those rules to win. Your financial intelligence is the part of your mental intelligence that you're using to solve financial problems, and there's no lack of those financial problems in traditional financial planning today. As we mentioned earlier, Americans today have big financial challenges when it comes to preparing for retirement. So we've been led to believe that you don't need to be smart with your money. We've been led to believe that you can blindly hand your money over to someone else and they will somehow know more, be better, and do better for you than you can. That is not a fundamental reality. In fact, at its core, it's a lie. We understand that no one will ever care more about our retirement than you do. That's why you're on this channel right here, right now, is to raise your financial intelligence. But go back to step number one and ask yourself this: when you do hand your money over to the professionals who have acronyms and credentials behind their name, they call themselves financial advisors. But are they really investing your money, or are they just speculating on your behalf? Does someone take your money and when they put it in a property diversified portfolio or a mutual fund or a 401k, do they have the ability to turn around and say, hey, you are investing your money and our first and primary concern is safety of your principal and an adequate return in the form of interest, dividends, or rent? Or are they putting your money somewhere hoping for an expectation of a resale at a future value? My friends, most people today, including financial advisors, are gambling. They're speculating. They don't have any control over what they're investing in, and that's why they encourage the idea of diversification so much. Diversification is simply just a way to minimize losses when their speculations lose money. If you want to get richer, then step number two is for you. Get smarter first. That's again why you're on this YouTube channel, to raise your financial intelligence. Increasing your financial intelligence is about getting richer by getting smarter. That's why Ayn Rand, the author of Atlas Shrugged, says that money is just a tool. It will take you wherever you wish, but it will never replace you as the driver. Now that you're an investor, not a speculator, and you're committed to raising your financial intelligence, now we can become richer, which brings us to step number three. Step number three is beginning with the end in mind. Now, this sounds relatively obvious, doesn't it? But you'd be amazed at how many people jump into the concept of financial planning and retirement without having a clear understanding or a definition of what winning actually means, how to measure their progress. Instead, they just start saving a haphazard sum of money, putting it in the most commonly recommended place and hoping with their fingers crossed that it's going to work out. The idea for most people is when they're 65, somehow magically they'll have enough money. But when you ask that person what enough money is, they have no idea. The unifying thing around most people when it comes to planning for the future is they don't know where their money's at. If they do, they don't know why their money's there. And if they do know why their money's there, they don't know how much they need to win the game of money. So starting with the end in mind is how you fix the abysmal statistics that we mentioned earlier. Retiring has nothing to do with your age and everything to do with knowing how assets convert into income. No matter who you are or when you're starting your investing pathway, we all have one common goal when it comes to saving for the future. That goal is generating a stream of income that we can use to replace our active income. It's converting assets into an income stream. So in order to accomplish this goal, you have to be able to confidently answer the question, how do assets in all their various forms convert into income? This is called cash flow planning. It focuses your attention on income rather than distracting you with an arbitrary measurement like net worth. Think about it this way. If you want $10,000 a month in income to retire and you have $100,000 in a 401k, your financial advisor might try to distract you by telling you that your $100,000 net worth is a positive sign. But really, this is a meaningless number until you can answer the question, how much time do I actually own? For simplicity, if you're spending $10,000 a month and you have $100,000 net worth, you essentially own 10 months of your time. Every single month as you take money out of that $100,000 net worth, 10 months later, you will be completely out of money. Now, let's say you're earning an 8% return inside of your 401k. What does that do? Well, essentially it buys you one additional month. That extra interest will allow you to slowly draw your money out, and it'll give you just under 30 days until you're entirely broke and your net worth is back to zero. Do you see why net worth and interest rates are of secondary interest when it comes to cash flow planning? Instead, you would want to know how much income an asset is capable of producing without diminishing its value. This, my friends, is the basis of cash flow planning. You buy assets that, just like an ATM, can kick out money to you every single month for the rest of your life, rather than trying to build up a pile of money and slowly draw that pile of money down. So beginning with the end in mind is choosing where you want to put your money based on how much income an asset produces, rather than being distracted on growth, interest rates, on tax deferrals, on what everyone else is doing, or anything else that speculating financial advisors put in front of you. This now brings me to step number 4 of being a successful investor. Step number 4 is about having a focused decision-making process. When you know what you want by beginning with the end in mind, you can now focus your limited resources of time, money, and attention to answer the following questions. How much money do I want my financial plan to produce? How soon do I want this level of income? What are the assets that produce the best streams of income? And how much resources do I currently have? This now gives you the framework to build a game plan and to start making better decisions with your limited resources, your time, your energy, and your money. My friends, answering these questions will allow you to build a plan of action and focus your attention and resources. The truth is, real investing is actually a pretty calculated strategy. It requires expertise and focus more than anything else. The way people achieve big results in a short period of time is through the systematic focus of their attention rather than diversification. So step number 4 is all about focus with a proper decision-making protocol. This now brings me to step number 5. So step number 5 is eliminating taxes from the equation. Listen, my friends, the greatest destroyer of wealth, your wealth, my wealth, everyone else's wealth, is taxes. Yet most financial advice acts contrary to this understanding. They tell you to defer your taxes, which is really just shifting your tax liability from now to the future, the very thing you're saving for. This is the greatest mistake I see most people making. And when I first started out my pathway to becoming financially free, I made that mistake as well. I put all of my money into a 401k thinking that that was the way to go. But really, when you think about this, when you're shifting your money to a 401k, an IRA, or any other tax deferred account, you're making a very egregious error. You're thinking that you're going to retire in a lower tax bracket. What does that mean? There is no such thing as a retirement tax bracket. So what this ultimately means is that you're placing your confidence that when you get ready to retire and take money out of your accounts, what you've been saving up for, that you'll be in a lower tax bracket. And the only way to do this is if you retire poorer than you are today, or by some miraculous event, the IRS decides to lower taxes. Now, I do not see that coming. In fact, I see the exact opposite happening. If you're watching this video, I know this is not you. You do not want to retire with the IRS as your best friend. You aren't working so hard to build your wealth and financial IQ to retire poor. So stop doing the number one thing that will force you to retire poor, which is tax deferral. Listen, my friends, I don't know what taxes will be in the future, but most indicators are that taxes are going to go up. The IRS has created a tax playbook for investors, not for speculators, but for investors. The playbook allows you to not defer your taxes like most speculators are doing today, but it allows you to eliminate them completely from the equation. So the last step to being a successful investor is to minimize and eliminate the effects of tax and create a stream of tax-free wealth and spendable income that will last you for life. So there you have it, my friends, the 5 steps to becoming a successful investor. When done right, investing is fun, it's predictable, it's consistent, it's reliable, it helps you build and fuel to become financially free. If you found this helpful, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to share the wealth and freedom with someone that you care about, someone who you like, someone who wants to become a successful investor just like you, because friends, they don't let friends retire broke. So hit that share button, my friends, and join me on the next video.